And if everything is all right, we can start our webinar. Someone says that the volume is not high enough in the Russian room. Yeah. I hope everything is fine in the English room. Okay. First, let's see how many, I'm sorry, newcomers we have. So make yourself selves shown or known. Those of you who are for the first time at this webinar, because this webinar is specifically intended for newcomers, people who don't know what the Genius of Finance game is. I will tell you about all the variants of this game, and also we will tell you why this game was developed and so on. So we have 1 hour today. I would like you to know how much time we have. So let me introduce myself. My name is Tatiana Zhuravleva. I represent the Academy of Private Investors. I'm located in Moscow, Russia, and I'm a certified host of Genius of Finance and also the project manager for the Genius of Finance game, the board game version and the Genius of Finance online version. So we have two types of the game plus the green case game too. At first, let's see the background, how this game was created, why the idea of creating this game was devised. Now let's see what we have here. 3 years ago, it was early 2017, the game was originally conceived by Andrei Khavratov and Antonina Kianovskaya. Antonina Kianovskaya was the head of the education department at the Academy of the Private Investors, and she came up with the idea to make a game out of our training, because the Academy of Private Investors prepares people who could be experts in the world of investing. And they wanted to create a soft, let's say, introduction or induction into the world of investing. And to do it using a game seemed like a great idea back then, in order to learn about all the areas covered by our academy. And that approach was enthusiastically supported by the CEO, Andrei Khavratov. And you can see both Andrei Khavratov and Antonina Kianovskaya on the screen, on the slide. And that's where the work on creating the game started. Throughout 2017, that game was co-authored or co-developed by many, many different people. And a lot of different gameplay scenarios were proposed, and a lot of work was put into the gameplay itself. And in October 2017, we had our first night of our game. It happened in Yalta, Russia, where we held the conference on one of our projects in our company. And by then, we already used game-based trainings, world-renowned games in the area of finance, and also held international tournaments. And after one of such tournaments, we identified the winner, and as a reward, they were granted a seat at the first night table. You can see a recording of it, the way it was held. We have a YouTube channel for our Academy of Private Investors, and there is a playlist for the Genius of Finance game as well, and you can find the recording of that first historic game. The game was hosted by Antonina Kianovskaya and Andrei Khavratov. Now let's move on and see how the events proceeded after the premiere, after the first night. And by the way, the idea was in order to have a qualified host who could be the game master, who could explain the terminology, who could show different investment market segments. We had 20 of them to show how balance sheets are filled in, what is income, what are expenses, assets, liabilities. In order for newcomers to grasp those notions easily, we decided to hold that game in the format of a training, which took 4 hours. And throughout those 4 hours, the game master literally supported the players from beginning until the very end, identifying on the go the gaps in their knowledge, in their experience, and giving recommendations that would help players to shape their investment-driven thinking and the portfolio-based thinking, the long-term investing. Therefore, it was decided to certify hosts, to have a host certification of people who would like to promote our game across the world. And over the last 3 years, we prepared almost 200 certified hosts. And our game was shipped to more than a dozen countries across the world in order to disseminate that knowledge across as many people as possible. Unfortunately, those efforts were not enough because people could play the game only in the cities or urban settlements where the host lived, whereas there were so many people willing to play that game. We have more than 500,000 partners in the Academy of Private Investors, students, and all of them wanted to familiarize with the game. So let's take a look how many we are. And it will be shown on the next slide. Over that time, we held almost 100,000 trainings and going every day because every host holds at least 2 or more trainings per week. We have also trainers or hosts who can host several tables at the same time. Therefore, the number of trainings held is continuously growing. Since our army of game fans we decided to hold an international tournament, and the first tournament was held in Minsk in October 2018, which was held to commemorate our birthday. We had 14 playing tables, and we had teams from 12 countries across the world. And this tournament was not just an event to promote the game. It was a genuine contest. And we had quite a hefty prize pool. It was quite interesting, quite decent, and the winners received quite solid prizes. So that's what it was like for 3 years of the popularization or promotion of the game. And let's switch on to the next slide, and you'll see how many people we had since then. I think those of you who were last year in Delhi, India, at our anniversary, Eventi 2019, saw how many people we had there. And you might have seen that crowd of people who are adherents and students of the academy and who take the knowledge that we teach and apply them into practice. And this is just a small fraction of people who are learning at our academy. Therefore, after this big event last year, it was decided to create a light version, a box version of the game, which would not require the presence of the host. And in January this year, 2020, the work has started to create a new version of the game. We call it the light version or the box version. Now let's see how it came through and what has been done so far for that project to come to fruition. Now, here we are. Next slide, please. We are now in January 2020, where this decision was made. One more slide, please. Where the decision was made to create an affordable version, an accessible version of the board game without a professional host, which could help you figure out what's going on in the game. And there were several stages to that project. So let's see what came first. Could you please switch on to the next slide? At first, we created a modern design of that game. The original design in the old game was replaced with a new design. There was a different playing board, playfield, the game cards, the playing pieces, and even the forms, the balance sheets were changed as well for people to navigate easier in their financials. I think you will enjoy the new design. We have just started shipping the games, and I will tell you later at what stage we are. And after the new design has been developed, there was a objective task to have that game translated into all our working languages. The previous game was translated only, if I'm not mistaken, into 4 languages: Russian, English, Czech, Italian, and I think we didn't translate that game into any other languages. Whereas now we had this game translated into 10 languages, and I'm going to enumerate those languages because none of the languages are on the slide. Only the first 5 languages are mentioned here. We will correct the presentation. The next time you will see the list of all the languages that the game was translated into. Now, the Russian version was translated into English, Spanish, Italian, German, French, Manipuri, Hindi. Manipuri and Hindi are both Indian languages, Vietnamese, Arabic, and one more language that I skipped. Well, overall, we have 10 languages. It was quite difficult to work with several languages because we needed to make sure that the mock-up of the game is perfect. We had some difficulties with Arabic because of the right to left writing, but we will make sure that everything is in perfect order, and then we'll send it to the print house. So as you can see here, after the design and all the translations, we needed to protect our copyright. Could you please move on to the next slide? Okay, we'll talk about the copyright later. Let's see how the manufacturing was set up. Since we don't yet have the certificates and patents for the copyright, we could produce that game in Russia only. So we found a major producer of board games in Moscow. They accepted our order, but unfortunately we weren't able to produce all the components in one place. Therefore, we had to enter into agreements with different producers. Some of the companies produced playing pieces, our proprietary playing pieces. Then we had a contract with a pencil producing factory for the production of pencils. Another company produced cradles. Cradles are kind of organizers that you put inside the box, and that organizer has different slots for game cards, money, etc. So it's a velvety cradle. And although those components were produced by different producers, then we received it, assembled it, and handed it over to our turnkey producer. And then 10,000 copies were assembled, packaged, and ready for shipment. And those 10,000 copies were not allocated across different languages equally or evenly. What we did is we had a survey across all of our interested Academy of Private Investors to see what is the demand for each language among our students. And we realized that the most in-demand language was English, and we produced 2,000 copies, the first batch. Then was the Russian version. In Russian, we also produced 2,000 boxes. Italian and Spanish, Hindi, and Manipuri, 1,000 boxes each. But this is quite enough to satisfy the primary demand and then the initial demand. But we will, of course, have additional runs of the game if there are additional orders for it. As for the rest of the languages, we produced 500 copies each. And again, if we run out of the copies, we will surely have more copies printed. For the first batch, it took us 2 months to produce everything because we had to work on the design, to have to agree on all the game elements for printing, to double check, and so on and so forth. And since now the layout is approved and all the files are there, it will take way less time to print the extra copies. The game is stored at a warm warehouse with a climate control. We had to package those boxes into special delivery parcels because it turned out that the Russian Post does not provide the delivery parcels. So we had to add our cardboard boxes extra. And then the game also comes with a bag with the logo included. So you can, if you want to play that game somewhere at your friend's house or relative's house, you can take along that game in a proprietary bag. Now, when everything has been completed, in August, we had documents submitted for the patent and copyright protection. And it turned out that it was quite a time-consuming time, the whole patent receipt period. And the approval period will be around 1 year. So until summer 2021, the game will be produced only in Russia. But as soon as we receive all the patents, we will be able to print and produce those games in your countries, which will facilitate the delivery and shorten the time of delivery. And we're looking forward to the time when we have all the documents on our hands so that we can allow you to print that game in your respective countries. Now let's talk about the plans for 2020, 2021, what we're planning to do and how the whole work is going to be organized. The launch of sales originally was planned for top 35 countries worldwide, because we have the so-called rating of countries by sales volume or turnover. And we decided to launch the sales first in those top 35 countries. But because we have this running promotion for GoPro tickets, and the GoPro event will be held literally in 21 days, so we decided to add the Genius of Finance game as a bonus into the ticket, into the package. So the ticket package, the GoPro package, includes not only the ticket, but also the Genius of Finance game. And since the GoPro will be held virtually online this year, and anyone can watch it from any corner of the world, then the CEO, Andrei Khavratov, decided to expand the geography of delivery. And you can now order it from any country on the website of the Academy of Private Investor. So I repeat, any person from any country can order the game. The prices have been approved on as well. We made 2 EAPs. The first EAP contains the game, the additional bonuses, and several training courses of the Academy. And the price of that EAP is 350 units. And that price is available only to the VIP Club members. So for you to be able to buy that game at 350, you will have to become a VIP Club member, pay for your first subscription, which depends on your rank, and then you can buy the game. Now, we also created an additional option, which is called Qualified Host. Since now we have 3 different formats of the game, and the old training still stays. It didn't go anywhere. We still have several boxes left: English, Russian, and Italian, if I'm not mistaken. And I will tell you later how many copies are left. You can still hurry up and buy the first version, the green cases, which require a qualified host. And this new EAP costs 1,000 units, and it covers the qualification of you as a host for all 3 games. And we will tell you what's the difference between the first game and the second game and the online game. We will explain how the Academy recommends that you hold those trainings in different formats, and also the buyer will receive all the information. If they want to become a qualified host, they will receive all the training materials, and then they will have to take a test. And upon successful passing of the test, the person will be issued a certificate. And then you also get an automated sales funnel. If you pass the test and receive the certificate of a qualified host of the Genius of Finance game, you will have the automatic recruiting for the game. And I would like also to underline that in addition to those prices, the buyer also pays for the delivery cost, the shipment cost. And there are different prices. The deliveries within Russia will have one price, and the deliveries outside Russia will have a different price, which will be an average price. It depends on the distance, the country that you are ordering the game to. After we receive all the patents, summer this year, we will make a franchise of the game, and you will be able to buy the franchise of the Genius of Finance in your cities in order to produce, disseminate, and do business related to the dissemination of this game. Free sale in stores such as online stores, Amazon, Alibaba, and so on is not planned, because we think it is way more profitable to give the allocate the to give the marketing or advertising money to our own network rather than to a third party. And usually those stores charge you twice for selling the game or games in their sales network. I would like to warn you all, those who already purchased the game or received it as a prize for participating in the marathon or within some of our promotions. I would like to warn you that because of the current epidemiological situation in the world, the Russian Post imposed certain restrictions as to where it can send parcels. Don't worry, your game won't go anyway. It will be reserved in your name at our warehouse, and as soon as the restrictions are lifted, we will send it to you right away. We're now also looking into different alternative ways, and if we find an alternative way of how to send you the game, we will do so. Maybe there will be a company that will be delivering parcels to your country from Russia. Then we will surely send the game to you. I would like also to draw your attention to the fact that those of you who already received that game or purchased that game as part of your GoPro ticket or a prize, you will have to fill in the form. That form when you purchase the game in the back office. For example, if you purchase it as a part of the GoPro ticket, be careful depending on how correctly and technically accurate you fill in the form, the sooner you will get the parcel. We're now facing the situation when not everyone did it carefully. For example, the city and the country were specified in the same field with the street address. And the Russian Post ignores such things, and they might just simply freeze your parcel. So please be mindful when you fill in the form. Also, you might not necessarily order the game to your name. You can order it to the name of your friend, relative, or someone else. Then in this case, you should specify not your name and the address, but the name and the address of the actual recipient. In this case, it will be shown in the back office that the game was sent not to you, but to the person whose name and address you specified in the form. So please, again, in order to speed up the whole delivery process, fill in the form correctly. Now I would like to congratulate everyone because we finally shipped the first big batch. More than 100 games were sent to different countries across the world. And those of you who were in the first batch can receive their tracking numbers and can track their boxes. And hopefully by the New Year's Eve, you will receive that game and maybe you will find it under your Christmas tree. Now, let's take a look at another variant of the game. Why did we decide to also develop the online version of the game? Well, as I said, there might be some delays with the delivery. You will have to wait for the actual physical package. You need to invite people over to gather people together. And not everyone wants to do that. Or not everyone is fan of offline games. And those people who are more used to playing games on a computer or on their mobile phones, we decided to develop a web application. The decision to develop it was made together with this decision to develop the box version of the game. And currently, we are working on the browser-based game with basic functionality. Well, you can launch it on your phone, but it will still need online connection. We haven't yet developed it will be, sorry, not online connection. It will still be web-based. It's not going to be a genuine mobile application. So you'll have to play it from your browser. That's what I meant. Now let's take a look at the developments in 2020. This year in April, we had a call for tenders and we concluded a contract with the current team of developers. The entire months of May, we were agreeing on the terms of reference because there were a lot of different nuances, how the screens should look like, the interface, the playing pieces, how user-friendly the interface is going to be, and so on and so forth. We included all of those things into our terms of reference. After that, the IT developers started developing the single design and logo because the design of the box version and the design of the online game do not coincide. Therefore, we decided to create a single design. And after that, we started translating the mockups into 9 languages, the layouts. We also did some cross-checking. So what we did, we hired native speakers, people for whom English, for example, is their native language, or Spanish or Italian. And then we sent those games to our partners across different countries for them to proofread it, to see how user-friendly and how readable the text is. And only then we started developing and ordering the mock-ups to send it for printing. And so it took us quite a long time to have the game properly translated. And then the development of the web version started in August until September. It was quite interesting, by the way. We already received the test version of the game. Andrei played the game himself, gave some comments. Now we are at the stage of addressing those comments. We created already the test team that is going to test all the algorithms, the correctness of the accuracy of calculations, the cards themselves, how different events can be interpreted. And I hope that very soon, within this month, we're going to complete the test and we will launch the production version of the game. Now let's see how the game looks. When you register on any website, the first thing that you're offered is to play the demo version of the game, which will allow you to familiarize with all the elements of the game. And here, the game is played between the player and the AI. It's a 1 versus 1. And the computer will give you all the hints, will tell you where different components of the game are, how the gameplay is run, and you can play with AI using pop-up windows as long as you want to, until everything is clear. So on the first screen, you will be familiarized with the fields, with the boards. You see that the game consists of 2 stages, the internal, the inner and outer circles, the circle of development and the circle of success. And if you mouse over the element, you will see the different hints and pop-up windows. When you understand everything, like there are 2 stages in the game, you go into the first stage and you can see all the current players that are in that game. I would like to remind you that your first game is with an AI, therefore all the other players are not actual humans but bots. And on the left and on the right, there will be 2 banners popping up where you will see your key elements of your balance, how many assets, liabilities you have, what is your income, what are your expenses, what is the purpose of the game, how much passive income you need to generate, how many sources of passive income you need to generate in order to achieve the stage where you can move on to the next circle, the circle of success. It is quite similar to the box version, but it is visualized. And each of the elements, you can hover over the element and see what stands behind it. Or you can, for example, see the different elements of the portfolio, like on the right. And also you can see how much cash you have currently. And this is enough for you to figure out any game-based scenario or situation, to learn whether you want to participate in a deal or transaction or not. So you will have all the financials in front of you. On the next slide, you can see the details of your balance sheet. Could you please switch on to the next slide? Yes. You can see what your income and expenditures consist of, your assets, liabilities, whether you have loans or not. So even if you had an asset and you decided to mortgage it, or you decided to sell it, or did something else, it will be still visible, but you can see that it is crossed out and not available anymore. This is for you to control, to be in control of what you had, what you have, and what you will have, potentially. In the lower part of the screen, I can see you can have quite a good visual representation of your investment portfolio. You see that circle pie chart. Also, you see the entire breakdown of all the sectors and their share in the overall portfolio, and you can learn how to balance your portfolio, manage your risks, see how much you have in one sector, how much you have invested in another sector, and control the process. If you want to take a closer look and go into the shares section and see in what specific companies your money is invested in, you can click on more. There is a button, and you can see how many shares in which companies you have and whether they yield us dividends or not. The capitalization changes by how much the price of those shares grew in the market, and many other parameters then you can track. So this is how the game is going to look like, and let's move on. After we play the demo game, or after the demo game is over, you can assess your performance and your rating and see how well you figure out the game. What's your ranking against other players? And after you do that, after you analyze everything, you can make two decisions. Either you play again with the AI if everything is clear, or if something is not yet clear, or you can start playing with real opponents in the back office, where other players will be waiting for you to start playing the real game with many different human players. Let's see how it goes. Could you please switch on the slide? Okay. And here you can create your own game and wait for others to join you. And I suggest you use that mode when you already have a set up team of players. For example, you agreed with your friends, relatives to play a game. You create the game and then you send the invite to your friends and players. This will be a so-called closed room where you already have predetermined players. But if you are playing alone and you would like to join an already existing waiting room, then you can pick the difficulty of the game, like the novice, middle level, and the professional or advanced player. Then you can pick the language out of all those languages that I mentioned before, 10 languages. And you can join one of the rooms, waiting rooms, that are waiting for all the players to join. At the moment, we created this game in Russian only. And now, when we're going to have the production version, it will be available to people who speak Russian. But very soon, we're going to have that game translated into all other languages. And our task is to first test the entire game interface. We need to see whether the back office is user-friendly, whether all the writings are visible and understandable on the buttons, the pop-up windows, and game hints. And when we receive the feedback from, let's say, beta testers of the game, and when we rectify all the comments that the company considers necessary to address, and then we will have the final translation of the interfaces, the board, the card games, the game cards. They are already translated, but the interface of the back office yet needs to be translated. And let's wait for the feedback about the Russian interface, and then we will have it translated into all other languages. Now let's take a look at our plans for 2020-2021. So what we would like to do in the future. As I said, we will have the website registration. And by the way, on your screen, you can see the registration window. You will have your own name, login, and you can use them to enter your personal account. You will be able to play the single user mode. In the single user mode, it's the game against AI, and you will also be able to play the multiplayer version when you're going to play against other human opponents by picking the level of your preparation: beginner, medium difficulty, or advanced. We will also improve the logic, the matchup. When you create the room, you will be able to decide whether you want to have the host in it as well. We integrated into the game the function of monetization, which means that you can play with game tokens, because you remember we have our own blockchain, we have our own exchange, and everything related to that project for our company. In future, we will synchronize it, and our game token can be converted into one of the tokens existing on our blockchain. So this is our plans for the future, and we will surely implement it. Currently, you can already start playing with your digital tokens, but they are not yet convertible into fiat money. We will have streaming on Twitch. It's one of the major mechanisms to see how other people play. So any person from any corner of the world, if they want to see how the games go, they can watch the streaming on Twitch and simply track the course of the game as a viewer, as an observer. And we also have personal accounts of the players in order to integrate possible monetization in future. And we also have the functions of host and administrators. For example, you don't know how to yet play the game, you need the assistance of a host, you can send a request. And if one of the hosts is available, they will surely join you and will give you explanations or clarifications on the game, or help you solve questions that you might have during the game. Also, we have the administrators. Administrators, they serve the function of an architect of the game, because you can add professions, new game situations in it, different scenarios, or the sequence of the game cards. All of it can be decided by the administrator. At the moment, this role is available only to the authors of the game, but depending on our certification of our host, we will see how they advance, what contribution they make. Most probably, one of the hosts can become administrators as well and come up with their own ideas on how to improve the game. Also, we will have the chat and the Telegram bot for you to be able to learn more about the game, to ask your questions, to invite more partners. So it's one of the ways of communication and channels to attract other players. We will have integration with the API when all those who have access to our back office in the academy can use their logins and passwords to enter the playroom. And if in the playroom we have someone registered, someone new registered, they will get the access to their back office in the Academy of Private Investors to see what the Academy teaches them and what kind of courses then can purchase and take in order to advance as an investment consultant or a qualified investor. We also provided for the opportunity to have paid subscriptions. We would like to create tournaments in this format. And here you can buy the subscription for a year, depending on your level. It can be beginners, medium level, and professional players. And it will depend. As I said, we're going to have it translated into other languages. And also, we will have the mobile application developed on Android and iOS. And we will all do it until 2021. Let's move on. Now you know all the formats, game formats. And I would like you now to understand how it can be used, this game, to attract new partners to the academy, and how you can earn yourself on those game formats. Well, first of all, every partner of our Academy of Private Investors has 3 game formats. I would like to remind you, it's a game with a certified host of the first version that was developed 3 years ago. The second format is the game box version of the game board. You can buy the game from any part of the world. We will have it delivered to you. And the third option is the online game in single or multiplayer modes. I would add here the fourth option as well. You can become a qualified universal host of the Genius of Finance game for all of the versions of the game. I just wanted to underline that every game is your instrument to familiarize with the philosophy of the game, of the philosophy of the evolution of the new economic evolution of the world, which is being promoted by our game. And I forgot one more thing. The online version will be available for free. You can start playing this game on your computer totally free. And if you want to participate in tournaments, that's where we're going to create paid subscriptions. Otherwise, you can play that game at your leisure. But you can still make money here, because those tournaments that we're going to have, they will be based on making in-game currency that we have in our wallets. And then we'll have synchronization with blockchain, and you can convert your game tokens into real tokens that we will have developed on our blockchain. In addition to that, you can start having regular games held, because many of the financial games that are currently played across the world, they are played for, they are hosted for money too. So our goal will be to popularize our game, to create investment-driven thinking in our partners and portfolio-based thinking. And of course, it should have, your efforts should be remunerated. And I would like you to see how much similar games can cost in your respective countries. And for that, you can use Kiyosaki's cash flow and see what they charge for their game. I know that almost every corner of the world has such paid trainings. So just take a look at how much it costs there, and then you can do the same with our game. Moreover, in the 14 countries where we have qualified hosts at the moment, we will surely post it on our website. It's still in the production version, but very soon we're going to publish it, where all the contact details of all the hosts that receive certificates will be published. So maybe if you live close to them or live in the near proximity to them, you can get in touch with those qualified investors and order the game, either for yourself or for your relatives, or maybe join the game that they hold, where there is still spot for a specific session for you. Therefore, I would like you to have a total understanding what this training offers. It is intended only for adult population. Oh, sorry. It's, let's say, it's intended for any person aged 18 and higher, or in any country. But I think we better say that it is intended for a person who would like to improve themselves as investors, as qualified investors, to understand what risks are out there, how you can manage your risks, how you can balance your portfolio correctly, etc. And I would like all of it to be in a game format. And even if you make mistakes and you make blunders, it's better than you make it in a game rather than you do it in real life, like it is happening today. People are investing money, losing that money, bear insane losses. So it's better to first train your skills in a game and only then apply them in real life. I'm now ready to answer your questions, if you have any, because I think we've covered quite a lot of questions at the previous session. So our webinar is being translated into several languages across different countries of the world. Guys, the English audience will be the first to ask questions. I will take your questions now, and then we will pass on to other rooms, okay? That's I asked the question about the Facebook. It was asked by an anonymous person. We have a Facebook page for the Academy of Private Investors, and there are dedicated posts dedicated to this game. We don't yet have our own Facebook page, Genius of Finance Facebook page. And as soon as we launch the online version, we will have all three versions. We will have different channels dedicated specifically to that game. Okay, guys, I will ask all of the questions. Хорошо, спасибо. Следующий. So I asked the question by Yvonne. whether you need to be a VIP Club member. No, all of the Academy partners who have their own login and password for their back office in the API will be able to have the link to our website, and you can start playing the game without investing any money. The only disadvantage is that it is available only for the Russian speakers now. So if you know Russian, and you can participate in the beta testing of it. But as soon as we have this game translated into all other languages, you will be able to play this game for free without being the VIP Club member. Only tournament will be on a fee base. I ask age toning question, where in API you can find it. For now, it is available only as part of the GoPro ticket. I already covered that information. For now, it is available only as part of the EAP GoPro, which will be held in December. As soon as the event is held in December, then other packages include that game will be available. As I said, for VIP Club members, it will cost 350 units. And if you want to become a certified host, you will have to pay 1,000. You will have to pay 1,000 units, and you will have an automation funnel. So what is automation funnel? I asked. You will be able to receive the inflow of new clients who want to buy this game, hot clients. So they will be asking questions specifically about the game, or they will want to play with you and have you as their host. This is the channel for attracting people who would like to play. Only for qualified hosts we are offering this opportunity, because we are sure that they figure out everything in the rules, and we can provide them with such channel from the company. So guys, I also asked a question about the loans issued by the bank, on what principle the loans are issued by the bank. But Tatiana said that for the game itself, and Tatiana said that we will have a detailed webinar related to specifically game situations. For now, we will take questions like you guys asked about where to buy, the Facebook page, the delivery, etc., etc. As for the mortgaged property, our rules tell you how you can obtain the loan from the bank, how you can mortgage your property, and every country have their own rules. And I think it is better if you go and inform yourself how the banks work in your country, because the game simulates the real life, and you will have a lot of questions coming up, and you will be looking for answers in your own country. For example, you will be interested in learning how it actually works, and you will have to go to the bank and ask them. in your specific country, of course. We gave the average information. And all of those rules, we developed the rules and they are included in the box. And also we have rules online too. There is a special button, you can click on it and you will have all the rules explained there. Ignatius Irianto, GoPro training is not the same as Genius of Finance. So Tatiana has nothing to do with GoPro. I'm sorry. And the GoPro challenge is over. And the GoPro event is organized not by our company, but by by Eric Worre and his team. Okay, there was a question from the Italian chat regarding the price. Again, I would like to repeat. The box version for VIP Club members will cost 350 units plus the bag with the logo and several training courses included into the package. And this package will be available, I repeat, for VIP Club members only. For all others, there is another package called Qualified Host. And those are our prices, 350 and 1,000 units. If you want to buy the game with a discount, you will have to wait for one of the Golden Fridays, if there are any. And most probably at one of those promotions, the Genius of Finance, discounted Genius of Finance game will be included there as well. So I cannot tell you specifically how many boxes are going to be sold, when, what discount is going to be offered. The company will announce it in your back office. What about the first version, the green case? Well, since the green case implies having a host, it is included in the EAP 1000. So where it says EAP 1000 units, you can decide whether you want to include the green case and or the box version. I would like to repeat that the green case version, the old version, will be delivered depending on how many copies we have. I think we have still 6 copies in Italian, around 16 copies in English, and some more copies in Russian. And as soon as we allocate all of the remaining games, we're not going to reprint the old version. So we won't have any certified host for the first game. And we'll mainly focus on the new game and the online. We are already behind our schedule. I'm ready to take 2 more questions and that's it. So guys, we'll have to pass on the floor to Spanish speakers, okay? So the Spanish speakers are asking whether all of those bonuses are included. Yes, of course. The GoPro package that you can see in the back office, in addition to the game, you receive some of the Academy's training courses, and they will be listed in your purchase. You also receive CRU points, crew, and you receive the game itself and the bag. So all of it, everything that is included in the Genius of Finance package comes along with the package GoPro. So that's why it's can be profitable to buy EAP GoPro and not the ticket directly from Eric. I'm so glad that you have so many questions to the game. I hope that we will sell out our 10,000 copies real fast, because we are ready to place another order for an additional batch. And I would very much like this game to be on every table of our partners and the whole army of our partners. Growing and growing. I'd like to thank you for your attention, tell you bye-bye until we meet again. On Friday, we'll have a similar webinar And I would like you to invite newcomers to this webinar as well, because this webinar is intended for newcomers, people who never heard about like Genius of Finance. So thank you for your attention and take care.